Hi there, this is Nick Roach, and I'd like to speak about the reflection of the world and what's happening at the moment, likening it to a dream, which I've done, which I tend to do. It's quite hot, very nice, not complaining, but if I look a bit red-faced, you'll know why. Excuse me. So, because I liken this place to a dream, I'm trying to think of where the similarities end, and I can't right now, so I'll use the word analogy for now. Because I liken it to a dream, I'm going to, if I may, describe 3 dreams I had some years ago to you. I went through a phase in about 2017, 2018, or about 18 months where I was recording my dreams. I'd make a point of waking up in the night. Anytime I woke up to turn over, whatever, I'd wake up and I'd record. You might think you don't have any dreams, you don't dream, but what you really mean is you don't remember them. And as I learned quite quickly, if you lie in the darkness, in the blackness, having just woken up and not move, just ask yourself internally, what was I just doing? What was I just doing? And hold the energy, hold the space. Don't move if you can avoid it. Don't turn over. Don't think of something else you can. Just feel the space inside you, the energy, because that energy, whatever it is left over from the dream you just had. So if you can hold that space, often images start appearing and then you start to remember the dreams. It's quite amazing. Suddenly, there it is. It was there all the time. When I started doing it, I'll just say as an aside, in the first day or two, the words came to me in the blackness as I lay there trying to think, what was I just doing? This is not for you. You're not meant to see this. And I said internally, well, show me anyway. And then I started to see dreams about some energies wanted to end the world, wanted to kill me, my death, and for a few weeks or months I was having to face in my dream all these scenarios, and I'm going to talk to you about 3 of them in a moment. Interestingly, as an aside, a week or so later, my wife Sally, who had been hearing me talking about remembering dreams, but I hadn't told her about that experience, said she woke up in the night to look as she could remember her dreams. And this little knowledge came to her saying, you're not meant to see this. It's not for you. And she listened to it, thought, okay, and didn't go into it. She didn't know I'd had the same experience, and I went head on, because I will do that. But yeah, she said, okay, I don't need to see it then. But there you go. So, 3 dreams that will make the point and help me explain what's happening at the moment. Because they're analogies, examples of how the dreams can relate to your own vibration. And this place being a dream will do the same. Then I'll get into how and what's happening now. Okay? So, remembering as we're out in the garden and you'll hear shouting, playing out of the gardens. This is a nice little summer house. I was in it the other week and we've now decorated it a little bit anyway. So, one of my dreams, I remember we were driving along. I was in the passenger seat at night time and we didn't know where we were. We were lost, had no idea, and we agreed to pull over. Sally was driving to see if we could work out on the map or find somewhere. And we pulled off the road onto this muddy bit and suddenly realised it was the edge of a cliff. And as we were going off the cliff, the thought or words came to me in the dream, this is going to hurt. And then I felt us roll in the just total blackness, just with the car rolling and rolling as it fell down this cliff, rolling and rolling. And as I was doing naturally, in my sleep as well as awake, connected within, as I teach you to do, connected within. Just felt the rolling and the rolling and the rolling and eventually it stopped. And although there was no physical pain, I knew, or the impression was, that I was mangled within the metal, twisted metal of the car. It was all through my body. The metal was all through me. I was still alive, still conscious anyway, because I couldn't feel my body. There was just pure blackness, nothing and nobody. No sense of anything except I still was, and I knew my body was mangled with the car. Couldn't separate one from the other. And I waited in the blackness, just waited. And eventually I felt Sally move in the seat next to me. As it is, it was actually in the bed, felt her move. And then I woke up. The second dream, relevant to the point I'm making, is I was in this old churchy cathedral type building, full of people, and the knowledge in me was that the devil himself was going to come and kill everybody in the building, was going to kill everybody. And I put myself first internally, come on then, come on, take me. And as people started to leave, I'm saying, come on, come on. And I started to shake in the dream, started to shake, shake, shake. I got lifted up off the floor, but like the movie The Exorcist, sort of lying there, horizontal, about waist high or shoulder height off the floor, shaking violently. And the knowledge and the words I kept saying were, you can't hurt me. This is a dream. You can't hurt me. Interestingly, I wasn't lucid dreaming. I didn't know that was a dream. I just know this is a dream. The knowledge is from within. It's all one's own self. And that knowledge is still present for me in the dream when I connect with that space. Or it was then. So this is a dream. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt me. And there I was, shaking violently like this, but with no pain. Just kept saying, you can't hurt me. And as I was doing that, all the other people were running out of the building. I knew I was saving all of them by facing the devil. And yet I know he couldn't hurt me. That's as much as I remember of that dream. I did write them all down at the time, so they're recorded, but this is as I remember them now, and all I need to remember for the point. And the last one is perhaps even more interesting, or at least as much. I was in this old building, looking around this building, upstairs first. I don't know, it was one of the National Trust style buildings almost, but an old empty place. And then we went down to the ground floor, looking around, and this man says to me, don't go down to the basement. There's pure evil down there. Don't go down there. There's pure evil. Do not go down there. I took him at his word. Okay. And I accepted I was going to leave, and so I walked out of that room, across this big hallway towards the exit, past this big concrete pillar holding up the ceiling, the building, head towards the door, just look back out of curiosity, and I see this head and his hands peer sort of at waist height around the doorway. Like taunting me, goading me. And I stopped. And the energy in me was, I've got to face this. So I walked straight towards the entrance. It was only afterwards I realised I'd walked straight through the concrete pillar as if it wasn't there. I just glided straight through it. So holding the space, get to the doorway, turn round, knowing this is meant to be pure evil down there, but I'm going to face it, whatever it is. Holding the space, walking down the stairs, facing it. And as I get there, get to the bottom, it's the caretaker of the building in his kitchen area, making a sandwich with no shirt on, just trousers, spreading whatever it is on the sandwich. And that was the dream. So, how does that relate to the point here? Well, many spiritual teachers over the however long have described this place as a dream, one consciousness, one mind, universal mind, etc., etc. Illusion, projection of oneself. The world is yourself. Ramana Maharishi said, the world is yourself, and so have others. So, if we accept the idea, at least this is a dream, in all dreams, like the nightmares, it's not as if something, in any of my examples I've just given you, it's not as if something random is happening and eventually it may or may not become scary. The events leading up to each situation were not random. Me walking round the old building upstairs, getting downstairs, and the man telling me there's pure evil down the basement. That energy creating the dream was right from the beginning when I was upstairs. It didn't suddenly appear at the end. It was always there. The thread, the storyline, the narrative was playing out. Same as when we were driving along at night in pitch blackness trying to find where we were. The energy that was going to subsequently end up with me being in a mangled heap amongst the car at the bottom was the same energy at the very beginning that had us driving around, not knowing where we were. The energy, the thread, had to play out. It had to materialise. It had to start somewhere, but it was the same energy. And likewise in the church, me being in this old building and then facing the devil. It was the energy had created the church within the mind, my own mind, when I was asleep. Okay, this is important. So, and in a dream, what normally happens when you remember your dreams, one dream ends, the dream sequence ends, then another dream starts, then another dream starts, and as I was remembering my dreams, I was starting to find out I can have any number, just one after another, whole succession, depending on how far back and how many you can remember at once, each one lasting just maybe a few moments, but all different, all individual, lots of little dreams, one after another, all separate, all independent of each other. And likewise, this is the point here, it's said that when we have lives and past lives, each life has an energy about it, a lesson, an energy, a frequency, and when that plays out, we die, the dream ends, that life ends, and a new life, a new dream begins at another energy level, another vibration, another storyline thread, or the same one if we haven't learnt the lesson from the previous one. It can be the same one over and over again, but it has to play out. Then it ends, and a new one starts. Then it has to play out, and it ends, and a new one starts. So, in this time and space, in this dream, many of you have looked into spiritual matters and you're aware that it's said we're entering a new vibration, a new earth, a new frequency, the 5D consciousness, and yet you also see around us pretty awful things happening potentially. The media's full of stuff to try and scare the hell out of us. It's trying. Not unlike that man telling me don't go downstairs, there's pure evil down there. In fact, exactly like that. Trying to scare us. That is a narrative. And one could say, if I was scared, that would become true. Because my own dream would create it. My own mind would create it. The vibration would be taken down lower. But because I was conscious, I changed the dream. And that's the point I'm getting to here. This energy of the dream, the narrative, started off quite low, quite dense. And depending on whether you're into the conspiracy theories or not, I use that term just so you understand what I'm referring to, not as anything derogatory in any way at all, quite to the contrary. They are the ones asking questions, and I guess I'd count myself as one of them as well. But the energy of the dream, the place, what's being exposed, shows how coarse, rough, low vibration this place has always been, and to an extent still is, depending on where you are. And the news telling us all the time, the BBC, to be afraid, be very afraid. And like my dream with the caretaker, pure evil, you have a choice what you focus on. The narrative is there. The BBC, the storyline, the news, the media, all the stuff we're told to fear, all the stuff we're told to fill ourselves with all the time. That is the narrative of the dream that's playing out. That's the energy of the dream. But it's said in this dream, the whole energy is about to lift, or is lifting. The energy of the dream, the vibration, is speeding up. And this narrative is being exposed and or left behind, if you can leave it behind. And I don't mean ignore it necessarily, but like I did with the caretaker, I'm going to face it. Without fear, without anger, without judgment, without anything, just straight on. What's this then? And then the energy of the dream will lift, and the old storyline, the old narrative, the old vibration gets left behind. But, and this is the warning, as much as it's a warning, there's no right or wrong, or everything is right. If you focus on the narrative, if I'd focused on the narrative of there's pure evil down there, and I'd been scared, because I remember being told now, you'll face certain death if you go down there. Funny I forgot that. But if you focus on the narrative of the news, telling you to be afraid, and you become afraid, you're still tied to the old narrative, the old story of the dream. So although the energy of the dream is lifting up, you won't notice. You're still stuck down here, saying you, as in anybody who's still worried about the news, not you personally, still stuck down here in the old narrative of the dream. And what is said will happen is therefore one gets left behind. As the vibration of the dream lifts, anyone still in that level of being full of fear won't be able to go with the new energy of the dream, won't be able to lift their vibration, and they will exit, pass away this dream. But that's okay, because it is still a dream, a life dream, projection, illusion, whatever you want to call it. And all that'll happen is that consciousness in that time and space will create a new dream with a lower vibration, and they'll carry on exactly as they were, where they need to be. So there's nothing wrong in this, but if you want to go with it, you need to lift your vibration. Now, I made a couple of notes to remind myself, because this is not just me talking, this is my remembering examples in order to make the point, and my memory's not very good these days. So and they haven't helped me at all, actually. My little notes, what did I say? I was going to mention, you might have heard the word timelines, and how does that play into this? Well, as I understand it, you might have heard the term Akashic records, where it says everything that's ever happened is stored energetically within the consciousness, mind, etc. It's all stored. Now, what's also said is all possibilities are being played out, have been played out, will be played out within consciousness in some great self-learning program, however you want to look at it. But everything is being played out and will be, all possibilities. It said, for example, If you have a difficult decision to make and you're not sure which way to go, whichever one you eventually take, that energy has already started manifesting the other potential, and that will create a whole new timeline. Don't worry about time, it's just a line within this time, karmic succession of events. Karmic as in attachment to experience being created, a new experience. So it will create a whole new dream, individual, you, a new you timeline with its own experience, experiencing that other opportunity, that possibility that you didn't pick. It will begin to experience it. And this keeps happening apparently. And eventually, if enough of the vibrations, the energy levels are the same, they begin to fold into each other, because they don't need to play out lots of the same vibration, same energy. It's all about energies expressing itself. And if there's too many of the same, they merge together. So, each one of these is a timeline. Each one has been experienced and stored within the Akashic records, and we're living one particular one of those. Whatever your vibration is, that's the one you're experiencing. And as your vibration shifts, your energy level, you will shift to another one, if you're on a higher vibration, to slightly higher vibration. That's already been played out. Of course, if it hasn't, you'd create a new one. If you do happen to pick or do something that has never ever been done before, the timeline, you create a totally new timeline. A new thread of experience, a new life that's never happened before. And that's all it is, picking a timeline. It's just your vibration will determine which thread you go into or you create, which thread of experience, what happens next. But they all start here where you are now. Now, having said that, and this is where my 3 dreams come into play, I dealt with each one the same, but there were 3 different relative outcomes. There was the one where I still died, I assume. I was a mangled mess entwined with the car, impossible of separating me from the car. But I was fine. Observing, straight, conscious, in the blackness, I was fine. No fear. But it carried on exactly as it was going to, but I was fine. And there's the one with the caretaker, the pure evil, going to kill me if I go down there. My energy, my consciousness changed the dream, actually changed the dream. Facing it head on, I actually walked through the concrete pillar like it wasn't even there. I'm not saying I'll do that in real life, but it's all energy. Who knows? It's unlikely, but it has happened apparently. But the energy changed. I lifted my vibration from the denseness of the dream, what it was potentially showing. I faced it, and the dream circumstance changed. I've done that a few times in dreams, as I remember it. And then there's the one where, again, I was facing the devil himself, who was trying to kill me, and he couldn't hurt me, but I still got lifted up and shaken, but knowing you can't hurt me. And in life, with what's going to happen, how this is going to play out, it'll be probably the same sort of thing. Either it'll happen exactly as is feared, but if you stay centered and stay focused, you'll be on a different vibration while it's still playing out. The story's still playing out exactly as was foretold, warned about. But you're not a part of that vibration, but you're still experiencing it like everybody else, except you're on the high vibration while it's happening. Or the environment, what's warned about, will not happen. You're on a different vibration entirely. Your timeline has shifted so much that what was going to happen along this thread, you're nowhere near it. You're over here somewhere. It was warned, but you don't experience it. It might be somewhere in the world potentially, but it's not your experience. your life is very, very different. Or it could be the situation actually happens potentially, and not only are you not afraid, but it tries to happen, but it doesn't play out in the way that was warned. Your vibration has changed enough that it happens still, but it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't happen in the same way, and you're not really touched much by it at all. So that's what's happening. So I suppose the last thing to say is how to change your vibration. Well, that is extremely easy. Extremely easy. What I will say, of course, before that is some people say it's important not to look at the news, not to know about the stuff, talk about the bad stuff happening, because it lowers your vibration. And to an extent that's right, but I want to say with the dream, with the pure evil trying to kill me, with the caretaker, becoming the caretaker, had I not gone across the hall, down the stairs and faced the energy, I would still have that little fear in me. I'd have never had that experience, and the little fear, I don't want to face that, I don't want to look at that, would have been there. The energy would never have been faced, would never have been made conscious. So there's an element of having to face the energy, of having to face what makes you uncomfortable, but only to a point. We switch off some of the wildlife programs, for example. We thought, we know it's nature, but we don't need to see that animal being hunted and killed by that one. Even our own little dog is not veggie, we are, but he's not veggie, and we feed him a raw meat diet, which has taken us a little while to get used to. But we don't have to necessarily watch it. But sometimes it will be right to watch it and be a part of it. But sometimes it won't be, and we feel within and see energetically what feels right. Is it right in this moment to watch it, face it, whatever it is, or is it right in this moment that it would serve nothing but to disturb me and won't achieve anything beyond disturbing the vibration? And that's the judgment you need to make. But avoiding all messages of the bad news, the bad stories, is not necessarily the answer. It will mean that you don't face those lower energies, you don't make them conscious, you don't rise above them, you're still in them, but looking away, try not to look at them. So there is the balance. So the way to raise your vibration is, first of all, having just said all I've said, don't get bogged down in the news. The BBC, that man telling me, don't go down there, pure evil's down there, it will kill you, is the equivalent of the BBC and others. This is the end of the world, this is too hot, the climate change, it's going to be, we've all got this pox and that pox and this and that and the whole lot. It just, you know what I'm talking about, it keeps on going. Another drama, it's like watching a soap opera on the BBC. It's just, if you watch that, by all means do it, but we don't watch it, very rarely. But we're aware of it, and we have the radio on when we do, music station, but occasionally news pops up and we listen to it, and I'm aware on social media what news stories there are, but the social media I tend to follow, my news feed, are people or organisations that are showing the other narrative of the mainstream media, of the stories. So I'm still reading about and learning about what's being said, but I'm doing it from another perspective, not the mainstream that everyone else sees, but I'm still, learning about what's being said, so I'm able to face it, be aware of it, face the energy without getting bogged down by it. So, avoid overly negative stuff, and if you do watch it, listen to it, be aware, be centered, be conscious, be the observer of it. Don't get wrapped up in it. It's just energy playing out, consciousness playing out its own energy. But particularly, again going on for that, acknowledge good, the good. Appreciate whatever you can, enjoy what you can. Enjoy and appreciate and be thankful and grateful and helpful and positive and upbeat, and smile if you can, and help people be the best version of yourself that you can be. And that is automatically lifting your energy, as opposed to wallowing in what the media has just told you might happen in a few weeks or a few months. As soon as you start to worry about things, just like if I'd worried about any of those dreams, what might happen, my mind would have created that negative situation I was worried about, because it's all the energetic dream. You choose your own timeline in the physical world. So if I had worried about any of the information, I'd have created the very problem I was worried about. And yet I didn't avoid it either, faced it head on. So it's being aware of everything you need to be aware of, as much as you do. There might be times when you think, I'm done with it all, I'm switching off all social media, switching off the news, switching off all television, going to have a quiet life in the countryside for a while, and that's great too. Just watch your energy, because sometime your intuition might tell you, I have to get back in there now, I have to face this. So don't make a hard and fast rule, just be a bit more flexible if you can. But it's acknowledging, appreciating, enjoying, and not focusing on the negative. And if anything bad does come up, using the word bad just to indicate something that causes an emotional discomfort, as ever in all my videos and all my tapes, be practical, focus within, as I say, feel the breathing, that just centers the mind and calms it. Be aware of the physical body, the sensations, be aware of the sounds. You hear I think a pigeon outside. Be aware of the sounds. And be aware that you're aware. And in this space, you are now your own consciousness, your own source, your true self. Being aware of whatever's happening. And in that space, you can ask internally, mentally, while you're conscious of being aware, do I need to do anything here? Is there anything I need to do? Any action I need to take? You ask yourself that. There might be nothing at this moment, but in the next moment there might be a thought, oh yeah, I can do that. Then you go and do it. Or be prepared to do it. It might be having made the decision to do it. When you get to do it, watching the energy, your change of energy has already shifted the timeline, let's call it that. And there's no need to do it anymore. You've already solved it. It's already done. You make a decision to take the action has already solved the problem. This is how this place is working. But the negative thread, to call it a word negative, the ignorance within oneself, the lack of conscious awareness, that lower energy had already started when you came into this life within your own consciousness, experiencing this dream. That lower energy was there and it had to play out. And you're in it now. And you have a choice whether you focus on the storyline and stay with the negative storyline, or you lift your energy up, connect within, and then you'll shift you'll shift with the energy. As the actual dream lifts up, the energy lifts up, you'll go with it. And as you're doing that, your timeline, if you want to call it that, is changing as well. And the old storyline is still down here, saying, in fact, the storyline, as you shift that way, it will shift as well. Different, that's going to happen now, that's going to happen now, that's going to happen now. But as you stay with it, the storyline keeps changing, but you're not focusing on it. You're always moving up beyond it, and it's always down here, doom and gloom. So it's possible, just rounding off now, it's possible that a lot of not so good things might happen, as per the 3 dreams example I gave. They weren't negative to me, they were powerful experiences. But to describe them to someone else, facing pure evil, being killed, etc., most people take that as negative. And you might see around you some of the storylines playing out and would appear to be negative. But your job is just not to focus on them, not to hold on to them. If anybody dies, leaves, as painful as that can be for those around them, and for them as well if they see it coming, this is just consciousness. Each one of them is consciousness, God, source, having a dream experience on its vibration, in this particular vibration, and it's going to leave this dream and start another one. That's what's happening. So yes, it can be painful, but in fact, put it bluntly, do you know anyone who's not going to die? They're only getting to the place before you or I do. We're going to go soon. It might be tonight. You know, the dream will end at some point, then another one will start. That's how it works. So you focus on the energy, your own consciousness as much as you can. That is where you live and breathe in this space. And whatever you need to do to get through the day, to be conscious, to fix any problems, address any disturbance in you, what have I got to do? You do it. When appropriate, where appropriate, you face it, take action. And then you drop it. And stay centered. And the dream, you will watch as the dream story starts to change as well, as you're changing your vibration, you're moving up within the dream, but also, therefore the timeline is shifting as your vibration shifts, and the storyline is shifting as well over here, but it's still going to stay low, and you're moving up that way, and there'll be a bigger and bigger gap between what you're experiencing within your own state and what you're seeing on the news and everything else. You'll be on different levels, different places. Hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Thank you.